What's going on, people? It's your boy Nando. This is the Pound for Pound Boxing Show in association of Dirty South and IQ Boxing. I'm going live with the WBA Super Lightweight Champion herself, Kaylee Reid. Kaylee Reid, I'm waiting for her to join. Hopefully, we'll get her on right now. Ibrahim Spider, what's going on, bro? Champ is in the building. Hey, Champ.
What's going on?
How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. I just want to say thank you for taking your time to speak to us today. We're big fans from the UK here. Been following your career for quite a while, actually. So it's an honor actually finally speaking to you.
Absolutely. Thank you for reaching out, man. I love my UK fans. You guys are the best. I can't wait to fight over there.
We can't wait for you to come over here. We would love to see you fight over here.
Absolutely.
How's things going over there in the States at the moment?
You know, we're living in the twilight zone like everywhere else. Right now I'm in Philadelphia where I spend most of my time in training camp and now out of training camp as well. So we're on like half lockdown where there's curfews, the gyms are closed, and you know, it's kind of weird. It's not as weird as it was maybe in the spring, but it's getting weird.
Yeah, it's getting crazy in the UK here too. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed 2021 will be a better year for everyone.
I hope so, man. We're gonna living in this crazy world, but man, we got to make do with what we got. So it is what it is.
100%. Let's rewind a month ago. Kandi Wyatt, you became two-weight world champion. I want to know, going into this fight, how was training camp with the circumstances that's going on in the world right now? Did it change anything compared to before when things were back to normal?
I mean, no, because honestly, my team and I usually have a solid game plan, and we've trained very instinctively. I've been doing this for a while, and my team and I are very close. So it wasn't any different because we kind of live in our own world anyway, and I have my own routines. Sparring wasn't a problem. We have plenty of sparring here in Philadelphia, as well as back home in Rhode Island as well. It wasn't, we didn't miss a beat. The only thing that, you know, this training camp was a little different due to, you know, we were dropping down to 140. I've never been down that low before. But again, we're very instinctive as far as knowing my body. My trainers know when to call me, tell me to chill out or tell me to pick it up. So, you know, I know my body very well. Going into this fight, my father did pass away during training camp though. So that's probably, this was the hardest training camp for me personally. Just, you know, the stakes that were on. I hadn't been in the ring for 15 months. I was dropping down to a weight class for a title against a very game opponent, and I had to kind of, you know, stay focused. So it ripped my team. I have the best people around me. So in that aspect, it was really tough, but I was able to pull it off.
And you know what? In those circumstances, it is good to have the best team around you and people that support you. So, you know what? Lucky that you had those people around you to support you as well, and you got the job done. You became world champion. What I want to know is you've already fought in your career in 4 weight divisions. Is this the division that you feel the most comfortable in?
Surprisingly, I mean, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna feel as strong, but I didn't feel any different as far as strength-wise, speed-wise. I felt really good. I felt fast. I felt like I can move. So between 147 and 140 is pretty much where I really feel comfortable. I mean, you know, the weight cut sucked, but it wasn't anything that I don't abnormally have to do as a fighter. You know, that's my job. So technically, I had no business fighting at 160. But again, you know, I haven't had a promoter or a manager for the majority of my career. So I was doing everything by myself. It's not that I didn't feel comfortable at 160, it's that I'm a small middleweight, you know, so being down in the lighter weights where I can let my hands go, be a little faster, think faster, move my feet faster. I was learning on the job, you know, I don't have an extensive amateur career, so we're finding a home in 147 and 140.
Amazing. So, WBA champion. Let's look at the WBC champion from the UK, Chantelle Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know much about her? Did you see her when she won the title a month ago as well against Ariajo, the Brazilian fighter?
Absolutely. I mean, I try to stay familiar with people. You know, I just love boxing anyway. So, and especially women's boxing, I'm trying to support however I can and always watch it. We got wind of Chantelle. I learned about her last year because in 2020 we had plans of we had plans of trying to go fight her late in the summer, but due to COVID, things all got canceled and screwed up. So we did actually get wind of her back last year. And I did see her win the title, and it's been a fight that I've been kind of licking my chops at for a little while because I love to fight. I love boxing people. I love fighting people who are really good, and I'm one of those old school fighters. The best have to fight the best, and she was actually looking for me to fight. So I was like, oh, okay, so this should be good. So I'm very well aware of her way of her skills, aware of her hunger, and I love being in a weight class that we got 4 very good title holders. So this is gonna get really spicy. I like it.
100%. I was hoping you would say that. So, if this is a fight that happens, do you see any weaknesses that you saw in her last fight that you can exploit?
I mean, everybody's beatable. I'm sure people see weaknesses with me. But I also see not even her fights, her training, that she's always trying to get better, just like I am. So I'm excited. Of course, I saw that she's really pretty easy to figure out. She likes to throw combinations. She leaves herself open for a few things. She doesn't look like she can fight backwards. However, this last fight, she showed a little bit being able to fight backwards because she was forced to. She doesn't like pressure. And I'm sure there's a list of things she can see about me. But, I'm the type of fighter that no matter how long I've been in this game, almost 20 years, and every camp I put the slate is clean, and I'm like, what can we learn? What game plan are we going to come up with? So I'm just excited that there's another fighter out there that thinks like I do. Just like when I fought Braekhus, I mean, I knew I had to bring my A game, and when I fight somebody that good, it brings the best out of me. So, yeah, I think that'll be an exciting fight. I know it
It would
will
be a
be.
great fight, and I hope it's in the UK because we would love to get you over here.
I would love to fight in the UK, but we both got titles though, so I don't know, man. So I would love
Exactly.
to fight home. I'd like to do a
Of
whole
course.
unification about home, but however the chips fall, whatever my team thinks is the best, that's what we're gonna do.
Have you heard anything from Matchroom or Eddie Hearn about this? Because straight after her fight, I think it was like a week later, he had an interview, and he's been saying it recently. I think she announced it on one of her interviews recently that in February she's looking to unify the division. So I'm thinking, is she fighting you? Is she fighting Mary Mcgee? Is she fighting Linardtou?
Linardtou, yep, Christina.
Yep. And then there's
Um,
the ring magazine title is vacant. So I'm thinking, who is she fighting?
I mean, see, the thing about me is I'm managed by Brian Cohen, which he has 22 female champions, and 3 out of the 4 champions currently in 140 he has. And we're all signed to Lou DiBella. So it's whatever they converse with. I'm very deep in the business side of boxing as well. Brian is also my fiance, so we work very close together as partners as well as, coach business in just the best way. So however he wants to move the chips, but we got 3 out of the 4. So whatever they feel, whoever's up first, I can't really say, especially because things are not, in contracts, and I can't say nothing. But they're in the negotiations for what the best move is. I mean, I would love to see one of my teammates go up, whether it's Christina or Mary, and we're all on the same team, quote unquote. But it is boxing, it is a
Of
business, so
course.
there is obviously a chance that I'd be fighting one of my teammates. But it's all business, and we're all hungry, we're all ready to go. I would love to see Mary up against Chantelle actually first. I just fought, so I would love to give one of my partners a chance at unifying first. But we'll see how it happens. The big guys, Lou and Eddie, they can negotiate. So can my manager and their managers. So they're on it. Put it that way. Every day there's some kind of talks about something. So we'll see what February in 2021 brings us.
I hope they can work it out because in the past, Lou Bella and Eddie Hearn haven't been in the greatest of relationships with the AJ and the Wilder kind of negotiation. So hopefully they can give the fans finally another fight we want. So we
Yeah.
didn't get the AJ Wilder fight. Let's get this one, Chantelle Cameron and yourself, or Mary Mcgee, or anyone else. But let's say, for example, one of your teammates goes for this fight. Do you have your eye on anyone else? Do you want to stay in this division? Or would you want someone like Katie Taylor, who right now is probably the name that everyone wants to beat? Would you go back to middleweight and fight Clarissa Shields, the another big name that everyone wants, that is the name that everyone wants to beat? Or do you want the winner of McCaskill and Braekhus too?
I do want that. I mean, I'm in such a position where I have a bargaining chip now at 140, and I'm a world champion again, and I can go as far up to 54, 160. I wouldn't go up unless the money's right. Unless you're giving me a like six-figure payday, there's no reason for me to go up to 160. 54 a catch weight, yeah, of course. I would like to fight Raquel Miller. I want to fight Hannah Gabriels again. I would love to fight Christina Hammer again just for GP. You know, I want the winner of the McCaskill Braekhus. I don't care who wins. I just want the winner of that. I love 147. That's why I want to reign. But I'm able to fight at 142. Katie Taylor is actually one of my avid sparring partners back home in Rhode Island. A lot of people don't know that. We spar all the
Wow.
time. So we talked about it. Our last camps we got when I was still in Rhode Island, we kind of got each other ready for our fights because we were fighting a week apart. And I said, I'm dropping to 140. There might be a chance we might be able to, do a catch weight. So she's like, yeah, for now we'll help each other out. But that would be amazing. That would be awesome. I would love to fight her. However the chips fall, and I'm able to be very flexible as an athlete now. And I've learned that I feel very comfortable at 140. So, I mean, I got a few weight classes to kind of jump around in, and I'm not irrelevant. I'm a world champion. So we're just going to see. I love 147. That's for my bread and butter. And I want to crack at Braekhus again. And I've already stated in numerous interviews that I would like to fight McCaskill as well. So, I mean, there's all kinds of options that I have. I'm not done yet. I'm nowhere near done. I'm just getting started. I have one of the best teams. Finally, I have the right team for me. So we'll see what happens.
Amazing. Let's start with Katie Taylor. You mentioned a few names there. So let's start with Katie Taylor. If you guys was to get it on, is it more, well, obviously you would want to go to 140 because she holds all the belts and that's like undisputed champion.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's Katie will think, well, I want to be free weight world champion. I want your title. So how would that work out? Because obviously you will want all the belts. So that you got more to gain from fighting Katie Taylor than she fighting you, basically, because she wants that one belt, but you want all the belts and become free weight world champion. You're both basically going for the same thing, free weight world champion.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. There's no way I'm gonna ever get past 140. I mean, that's where I draw the line. Just me, health wise, safety wise, there would be no way I'd go to 135. If there was like a catch weight at 140, she'd have to come up, and we'd have to have some kind of catch weight. But I would not go past 140 whatsoever. I mean, we both have everything to gain, and both of it is two really good elite fighters fighting each other. She's made such a legend of herself, and I've done my own. Paving the way and pioneer of women's boxing in my own right. So it'd be an awesome fight. It would be a TV pay-per-view worthy fight. And especially like just thinking back to our sparring sessions where we bring the best out of each other. I mean, we go bang around for 10, 12 rounds. And it's fun because she adjusts, I adjust, and we have to think. We have to use our brain. And I love sparring or fighting like that. I don't want to just go through motions.
Amazing. Let's talk about the McCaskill Braekhus fight now. Obviously, McCaskill won the first fight. What's your prediction for the rematch? Because if Braekhus wins this one, there's got to be a trilogy, right? And it's more of a waiting game again. So do you think McCaskill can do it again?
I mean, McCaskill barely did it the first time. She just bullied her way in, and she won. She did what she had to do, and what she was capable of doing, which, in my opinion, wasn't that impressive at all as far as being a boxer and a fighter. Not talking. I don't run my mouth. I just speak facts. So if somebody's feelings get hurt, oh well, not my problem. I wasn't impressed with either. I thought Cecilia kind of looked flat a little bit, like she didn't want to be there. I don't know really. Maybe it was McCaskill's style that kind of threw her off. But I would hope that going into this rematch that they both look better for the sake of women's boxing, because that was a horrible looking fight. It wasn't spectator friendly, and it just, I don't know, it was a weird fight. And hopefully it won't be in Oklahoma again, because the scoring out there was insane. Do I think Cecilia would win the rematch? She has the ability. She was reigning undisputed champ for a reason for so long. You know what I mean? Even though she was in Europe and she's allowed to do a lot more things than she is in the States. Do I think she has a boxing ability to readjust and come with something new that McCaskill can't get through? It's a possibility. She's an undisputed champ for a reason. Do I know the business of boxing? Yes. Do I think she's going to win the rematch? Absolutely, and have a trilogy, because that's where the money's at. But do the spectators, do we want to see a third fight after the first one? No, I don't want. I just wanted them to get it over with and then move on. You know what I mean? So I would love to see Braekhus win and me get her again. That would be great. And if Mccaskill wins, then I'd like to fight her for the undisputed champ. But I don't know what their plan is, and they have rematch clause and all contracts and everything. But just real talk, does anybody want to see that again? No.
Not really.
No.
It was a hype train. So for me, I was very disappointed with the first fight, and I prayed that the second fight would be a lot better, and the judging would be a lot better.
Yeah, it was, and I wasn't even if it wasn't me that fought on HBO with Braekhus, it was a much better looking fight, and it was a skilled, competitive fight versus theirs. So it's just it was just really, it went over like a fart in church. I was like, what am I watching right now? So hopefully they both step it up, man.
Do you think since your first fight with Braekhus, you've learned a lot that coming to a rematch with her, there's a lot more you can exploit from her?
Absolutely. I mean, I learned a lot about myself and about her and where I was supposed to be. Going into it, fighting on HBO, fighting Braekhus, one of the people that I've looked to I not idolize so much, but when I went pro, she was already doing her thing. So I want to know how to move in the professional ranks as a female. So she was somebody that I followed very, very closely. But I learned that I belong in the top elite where I'm at. You know what I mean? I learned a lot, and every camp we learn a lot. And I've grown so much as a fighter just from that fight to my last fight alone. And I still have so much room to grow. And that wasn't me at my best, and that's pretty scary for somebody whose last name is Braekhus. So.
Let's talk about Christina Hammer. Ever since her loss to Clarissa Shields, it's like Shields stole her soul. It's like we haven't seen her in the ring again. All she's doing is Instagram, her modeling, whatever she's doing. Do you think since the two fights with her, the same question, do you think now you've learned from that fight and you saw weaknesses against Shields that you can exploit in that? Because I'll be real, that fight, I backed Christina all the way for that fight against Shields because I thought her height advantage and her reach advantage, if she used the jab and kept the distance and just, played it smart, I thought she had the capability to beat Shields, and I was very disappointed. And
yeah, I mean, again, Christina Hammer, she's like another hype train because she's a European fighter, got away with a lot of stuff in Europe, like most European fighters do. Does she have a little skill? Yeah. Did Shields exploit her? Absolutely. She got exposed.
yeah.
She wasn't able to get away with the things that she is and she was back home. You won't find mine in Christina's first fight because I knocked her on her ass in the 10th round. She shouldn't have got up. You won't find that fight, though. A lot of people don't know that. Our second fight, they had open scoring, and either I was going to put her in a body bag or get robbed, which I just was like, I got kind of bamboozled by the WBC, got my back against the wall. And again, I wasn't promoterless and managerless. That's been the name of the game. I get the calls and I go. I work out, I do what I have to do, but I go by myself. I have coaches, but they have other things they have to do. So absolutely, it would be a totally different fight. She's basic. She's long and basic, and she fights in football fields of a ring that she gets away with and running. You know what I mean? So especially with everything I learned about myself as a fighter now, yeah, that's why I said she's one of the people that I would fight again just for GP because I got so much better.
100%. And, she was meant to fight, if I'm not mistaken, the night of Halloween, somewhere in Germany. It got cancelled. And then I'm hearing the next day she's entitled to fighting for a vacant world title. And I'm like, how did that happen? You lost to Shields, and now you're entitled to fight for a vacant title that other women in the division have fought probably 5 times since your loss to Shields when you disappeared, and all of a sudden you're getting this title shot. And for me, I think it's crazy sometimes how these divisions, how these governing bodies pick and choose who gets the title shot and who is the mandatory, who's number 1, who's number 2. So
that's the name of the game with a lot of these sanctioning bodies. There's some that I rock with, there's some that I don't, after having personal experience, bad experiences, and just seeing how they move and how they pick and choose. You're exactly right. She lost. She should step in line like everybody else. But these sanctioning bodies sometimes pick and choose who they want their mandatory, when they want somebody to be mandatory, who they're mandatory. They throw fighters in on the ranks that haven't fought for years at like rank number 3. I'm like, it's kind of sad, but I know I just saw that she's supposed to fight this Friday, I believe, or Saturday in Germany.
No idea.
Yeah, I keep seeing it, and then I just actually before I came on here, I saw it a few times, so it must be, if it's on social media, it must be real.
We'll see. We'll see. I wanna ask you how your thoughts are how amazing the women's game is growing so much in the past few years. That the fights are more exciting than the men, and so many women have put the sport on the map, and we need to see more women main events. I want to see an all women's pay per view. Just women, just all the best on the same cards, all title fights. We had one recently in the UK. You had Savannah Marshall. You had Rachel Ball that was meant
Hmm.
to fight Ebony Bridges. Bridges had to pull out due to an injury. Then you had Katie Taylor as the main event. We need more of that,
That
especially in
was
the States.
beautiful. That was seeing that, and I know there's some promoters, mine being one of them, as a huge advocate for women's boxing. Eddie's doing a great job by putting very competitive fights on, not just title fights. I mean, there was a pro debut on DAZN a couple, maybe like a month back that was on the same card. The platforms that, and it's funny because 2020 has been so horrible, but it's been great for women's boxing when they
Yeah,
finally get back on, because all these competitive fights, title fights, more than one female fight, it's getting viewers a lot more familiar with seeing female fights back to back. So it's not just women boxing, it's just there's boxing on tonight, and there happens to be the same amount of women on the card that are men, and they're competitive fights. So I'm really, really excited where women's boxing is going. And I gotta say, the network promoters is doing a hell of a job of putting us on.
100%. I want your view on this whole crossover between celebrities doing the boxing fight, and then even the talks of MMA fighters coming to boxing. So let's talk about, obviously there's this rumor, Jake Paul versus Floyd Mayweather. We had Tyson versus Roy Jones. Yeah, I could see your face. Like, for me, it's ruining the sport.
Yes.
It's ruined the sport. But then there's rumors of, which I think it would be an epic fight, is Katie Taylor versus Cyborg.
I have mixed feelings about the whole MMA fighters fighting boxers. I mean, everybody should stay in the damn lane. No disrespect to any MMA fighter. I wouldn't do it because I just don't. I would love to train for it, but would I convert? Absolutely not. I think just like boxing, you need years and years and years until it's part of your like DNA, because they do some crazy stuff. For like a hype job, yeah, but you can't really. I mean, female fighting, women's boxing is just now getting taken seriously. So to have like some Cyborg versus Katie Taylor, I think that was a waste of time, and it'd be stupid. First of all, Katie Taylor would eat her alive in a boxing match. I don't care how big and bad she is. She'd get eaten alive and get her ears boxed off. But I think it's stupid. I don't think MMA fighters should be crossing over and fighting boxing and vice versa. Now, if you're a fighter, like Clarissa Shields says, she's crossing over and doing MMA professionally. You want to make the crossover, that's fine. Amanda Serrano, she made the crossover. Heather Hardy made the crossover. That's their choice. More power to them, because I wouldn't do it. But to have these novelty, McGregor versus Mayweather, whatever, that was kind of cool because I like McGregor, whatever. But then you have this Jake Paul dude. Like, it's starting to get ridiculous, and people aren't taking boxing seriously enough in a whole now anyway. So why make a mockery of the sport? I think it's hurting. This gives black boxing a black eye, no pun intended, honestly.
100%, because you have these non-boxers that haven't worked their arse off the whole of their lives to get where they are to get in the ring, and then you've got potential fighters who have great ability and don't get the opportunity to go on that platform to show the world who they are and what they can do. So for me, it's a mockery. Because
Mm-hmm.
let's be honest, this COVID, in my opinion, ain't gonna go anywhere anytime soon. So the fact that if you put Jake Paul versus Floyd Mayweather in February on TV, you're taking away from the fighters that didn't get a chance in 2020 to showcase their skills in 2021, and I think it's a mockery.
I think it's stupid. You have, again, like you said, these very skilled fighters that dedicate their lives to the sport, that take it very seriously, and then you have women who are just finally getting the platform. So, but somebody who has 1 million followers on YouTube and coughs that he takes a Taekwondo class for one time, and now he says he wants to fight Mayweather. I think it's a joke. I think it's pretty disrespectful to the sport. If that's what you guys want to do, have it on a whole separate card. Make a whole YouTube, Nate, Jake, and whoever else want to fight on that card over there. I mean, the entertainment value of it is great, and I know boxing doesn't have that entertainment draw value like that, the drama, so that's what sells. So okay, take the fighters that are making noise and maybe drama it up a little bit, but I don't think dragging of these other YouTube goofs into a whole boxing card is like the way to go. I know we're starting to get desperate for the entertainment value, but I don't personally like it, especially being a real diehard fighter. Like, I put my life on the line just like all the other fighters do. Just say, oh, maybe that looks fun. Let me try boxing. You don't play boxing. Again, you can't play boxing. Nate learned that very well. So
100%.
those goofs over there for the other stuff. Go fight like on some exhibition smoker cards or something. I don't know.
No, I totally agree with that. Totally agree. Before I let you go, I want your prediction on two big fights. One hasn't been made. I'll talk about this weekend's one. We got Canelo versus UK's very own Callum Smith. Super middleweight titles on the line. WBC, The Ring, and WBA title is a fight that fighter fans have been praying for a long time. Do you have a prediction for this fight?
I just know it's going to be a banger. Canelo's come heavier, but Canelo people. I was just talking to with Brian about this. Like, people really don't take Canelo for exactly how skilled he really, really is. Everybody gets excited, knocks people out, but his ability to adjust and to brawl and to fight and think smart and be a counterpuncher, be first. He adjusts. He's almost like a Lomachenko in his own right, where he can kind of fight off angles. He can counter react. He's very, very skilled, and he can adjust, and he's getting better. Not taking anything away from Smith. I think it's going to be an excellent fight. I mean, the man's a champ for a reason. I think he's a heavy hitter, banger. He's another one who's very, very skilled. If I had a prediction, I would say maybe split Canelo. I think it's going to be close, though, because we've seen Canelo at a heavier weight. But I am an avid boxing fan, and I love how Canelo how he adjusts. I love when people can adjust, and they have a very deep toolkit. Not saying Smith doesn't, but I give the edge to Canelo. I got to give the edge to Canelo.
Do you know what the scary thing about Canelo is? It's not just his movement and his ability to adapt to any fight. It's the fact that he took Golovkin's punch and it didn't phase him.
That was scary. That
And
was very scary.
and vice versa. Golovkin took his. So if you're in the ring against one of them, you better just box. Use that sweet science and just try and box them, because you're not knocking them out. I don't care who you
Smith
are, you're
better
not
bring
knocking
his
them out.
A-game boxing, and I know he can, but again, your A-game boxing may be figured out by the fourth round by Canelo, and if you don't have anything else, bruh, I think it's gonna be a good one, though. I'm excited.
Yeah. Smith just needs to use his reach advantage, his height, keep the distance, just jab him for 12 rounds and just go at it, because if you try to trade with him, you end up like Rocky Fielding, you end up like a lot of his opponents.
Absolutely.
The last one is Anthony Joshua. Obviously, over the weekend he knocked out Pulev. Now they're trying to make the biggest fight since Ali Frazier, Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. This fight happens.
I'm such a Fury fan. But I gotta say, AJ's grown on me, because I wasn't at first. Like, it wasn't that I didn't like him. It's just that I thought he was very wet behind the ears. He was very green, very new, and he had a lot to learn. He impressed me when he had the second fight with Andy. And he stuck to the game plan, and it was a very good game plan, and he had the discipline and the maturity to do it. And then this last fight with Pulev, I was like, okay, he impressed me as well. He's growing on me. But Tyson Fury is a whole another animal. I'm sorry. I go with Tyson Fury on that one. You can't teach that. He has this natural ability to work with what he's got, and then he's come from one of the best gyms, the Kronk gym. They know how to train some tall heavyweights, so I'm going with Tyson on that. Sorry, AJ, but Tyson Fury is a whole another animal. Do I think he's going to come even better than he was against Pulev? Absolutely. And especially the maturity that he's showing, that he's learning. But, man, I love me some Tyson Fury.
For me, he's the number one heavyweight in the world. He's just unbelievable, because you look at him and you think, this guy is nothing. Like, just looking at him, you think he's nothing. But the way he moves,
Is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, and he's just on a whole nother level. And he has a lot of people think he will beat AJ on points. He has the ability to break him down and knock him out like he did to Wilder. So, and you know, we've seen that AJ hasn't got the strongest chin. So, and we've seen Fury hasn't got the best chin either, but he's the only man that's ever fought from Wilder.
Look at the recovery from AJ and look at the recovery from Fury in the first Wilder fight. You know what I mean? He got up and he just kept trucking. AJ got a little stunned a few times with Pulev's right hands. I gotta say, he's open again. He's learning on the job. You can't learn on the job with somebody like Tyson Fury. I'm sorry, because he is an animal.
100%. Well, hopefully this fight happens because it's a fight that boxing fans deserve. It's a fight that, after the year we've had, it's a great fight to go into 2021. It's a huge fight. So hopefully we can do that. And hopefully we can get you on the undercard with Chantelle Cameron.
That'd be awesome, man. That'd be really dope. I can't wait to see how they fall, because there's so many possibilities right now in both, and from 140 or 135 to like 154. There's so many possibilities. There's so many great fights. So hopefully we can see that all-female card happen in 2021. I'm excited to see what happens.
100%. Kandi, I want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. Hopefully, if you get that fight in the UK and everything's safe, I can come meet you and we can do a face-to-face interview properly.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me anytime. I love talking boxing. It's great. I'm so glad I get an opportunity to talk to my UK fans. It's awesome. You guys are great. Anytime, man.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Take care and stay safe and have a great Christmas.
You too. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.